All right, let me ask you something. What if everything you thought you knew about aging was completely wrong? Most people assume that getting older means losing everything that once made life meaningful. They picture loneliness, declining health, and days that just blend into one another. That was exactly what I expected when I moved into a nursing home at 81. But after a year here, I have learned something different. Aging is not just about losing things. It is about what you choose to hold on to. It is about mindset, about connection, and about finding purpose even in the smallest moments. Today, I am going to share 7 lessons that change the way I see life. The last one surprised me the most, and it might change how you view your future. Stay with me, because this could reshape the way you approach aging. Hey there, welcome to this video. If this is your first time here, I am really glad you found us. Stick around, because we are talking about something that affects every single one of us. Aging. Aging happens to all of us, but here is the real question. Are we just getting older, or are we living well as we age? I have seen both sides. I have met people in their 80s and 90s who are more alive, more engaged, and more fulfilled than some people in their 40s. I have also seen others who feel like life is over long before it is. So what makes the difference? It is not money. It is not perfect health. It is not having a big family around you all the time. It is something much deeper than that. It is about mindset. It is about habits. It is about the small choices we make every day that shape the way we experience life. I want you to think about this. How do you see your future self? Do you picture someone strong, independent, and still enjoying life? Or do you see someone who is just waiting for the days to pass? That vision starts with what you choose to do right now. After spending a year in a nursing home, I have learned some surprising things about growing older, and today I am going to share 7 of the most powerful lessons with you. Some of these may confirm what you already believe, but others might completely change the way you think about aging. So let's dive in. Lesson 1. Loneliness is a choice, not a sentence. Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? That was me when I first moved into the nursing home. I had lost my wife years ago, my kids had their own lives, and most of my old friends had either passed away or moved far away. I expected loneliness to just be part of aging, something I had to accept. But then I met Margaret. Margaret had no family nearby and no visitors, yet she was one of the happiest people I had ever met. One day I asked her, "Margaret, how do you stay so positive?" She laughed and said, "I knock on doors. I sit at full tables. I never wait for happiness to find me. I go looking for it." That hit me. I realized loneliness was not just something that happens to us. It is something we allow to happen when we do not take action. So I tried it. Instead of sitting in my room waiting for someone to check on me, I started greeting people in the hallway. I joined a card game, even though I had not played in years. I asked people about their lives, their families, their stories, and something incredible happened. My world got bigger. I was not just passing time anymore, I was building relationships. I learned that loneliness is not about being alone. It is about choosing to stay disconnected. Here is the truth. There will always be opportunities to talk, to laugh, to connect, but you have to take them. I have seen 2 types of people here. Some wait, they sit in their rooms, hoping someone will visit, convinced that no one cares. And then there are the ones who make an effort. They smile at others, they start conversations, they join activities, even when they do not feel like it. And guess what? The difference between these 2 groups is not their circumstances. It is their mindset. I know it is not always easy. It takes effort. It takes stepping out of your comfort zone. But I can tell you this, the more you put yourself out there, the more people respond. Human connection is powerful. It is what keeps us going. So ask yourself, am I waiting for someone to come to me, or am I taking the first step? Because the truth is, those who wait often stay lonely, but the ones who reach out, they find companionship, purpose, and even joy. So, if you are feeling alone right now, I challenge you. Say hello to someone, ask a question, join an activity, Take one small step today, because the more you engage with the world, the more it engages with you. Lesson 2. Independence fades faster if you let it. You know what is surprising? Independence does not just disappear overnight. It fades, slowly, almost without you noticing, until one day, you realize you can no longer do the things you once could. I saw this happen to Richard. When he first moved into the nursing home, he was strong, independent, and did everything himself. But little by little, he started asking for help with things he used to do with ease. First, it was carrying his coffee. Then, it was putting on his shoes. Then, it was walking short distances. At first, it seemed harmless. After all, what is the harm in letting someone help? But within months, something changed. Richard stopped trying. And once he stopped trying, he started losing his strength. The man who once walked proudly down the hallway now needed help just to get out of his chair. And that scared me, because here is the truth: if you stop using your body, you start losing it. It is easy to take the convenient route, to let someone else do things for you, to tell yourself, oh, it is just easier this way. But every time you choose the easy way out, you give up a little bit of your independence, and the more you give up, the harder it is to get it back. So, I made a rule for myself. If I can do it, I will do it, even if it takes me longer, even if it is uncomfortable, even if I do not feel like it. I take the stairs when I can, I dress myself every morning, I pour my own coffee, because I know that once I stop doing those things, I may never get them back. And I have seen too many people give up their independence without even realizing it. This does not just apply to people in nursing homes. This happens to all of us. How many times do we choose convenience over effort? How many times do we let technology or other people do things for us because it is just easier? Think about it. When was the last time you challenged yourself to do something that felt just a little bit hard? The body is like a muscle. Use it and it stays strong. Stop using it and it weakens. It is that simple. So here is my challenge to you. The next time you are tempted to take the easy way out, stop and ask yourself, can I do this on my own? If the answer is yes, then do it. It does not matter if it takes longer. It does not matter if it is not perfect. What matters is that you are keeping yourself strong. Because once you lose your independence, getting it back is nearly impossible. And trust me, you do not want to find yourself in a place where you need help for everything. So start now. Stay active. Keep moving. Keep challenging yourself. Because your independence is worth fighting for. Lesson 3. Health declines when routine disappears. You ever wake up and feel like the whole day just slips away before you even know what happened? I have seen it time and time again. When people retire or slow down, they think they are finally getting to relax. But what they do not realize is that without structure, days start blending into each other, and before long, everything starts to slip. Energy, motivation, even health. Take George, for example. He is 88 years old and sharp as a tack. Every morning, like clockwork, he gets up at the same time, shaves, gets dressed, and takes a short walk before breakfast. He has a schedule for reading, socializing, and even light exercise. And you know what? He still moves well, thinks clearly, and enjoys life. Then others wake up whenever, eat whenever, and do not have a plan for the day. They stay in their rooms, watch television, and let time pass them by. And what happens? Their minds slow down, their bodies weaken, and life just feels dull. Here is the truth. Your body and mind need structure. Without it, things start to fall apart. Think about it. When you were working, you had a routine. You woke up, got dressed, had somewhere to be, something to do, and that kept you going. Then suddenly, one day, that structure disappears, and it is easy to fall into a pattern of doing, well, nothing. I get it. It is tempting to just take it easy, to not have to think about schedules anymore. But I can tell you from experience, the happiest, healthiest people I know, no matter their age, are the ones who stick to a routine. So I made a rule for myself. Every day must have a plan. It does not have to be complicated, it does not have to be packed full of things to do, but there has to be something. I wake up at the same time each morning. I get dressed, even if I have nowhere to go. I make sure I step outside, even if just for a few minutes. I read at the same time each day. I check in with people. I make sure I am engaged with the world. And you know what? It makes all the difference. I have seen too many people slip into decline simply because they lost their sense of purpose, their reason to get up in the morning. That is what routine gives you, a reason. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like the days are slipping by, start small. Set a wake-up time. Plan 1 or 2 things to do each day. Stick to it. Because the more you stay engaged, the more alive you will feel. And trust me, that feeling is worth holding on to. Lesson 4. Your attitude shapes your experience. You ever notice how 2 people can go through the same situation but have completely different experiences? I used to think that the happiest people in the nursing home were the ones who had the best health, the most visitors, or the least problems, but I was wrong. Some of the most miserable people I met were in great physical shape, and some of the happiest? They had serious health issues, no family around, and plenty of challenges. That is when I realized something. Happiness is not about what happens to you, it is about how you choose to see it. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She is 86 years old and has severe arthritis. It makes it hard for her to move, and some days the pain is unbearable. But you know what? Every morning she greets people with a smile. She asks about their day. She finds something positive to focus on, even when things are tough. One day I asked her, "Eleanor, how do you stay so positive?" She looked at me and said, "Happiness is not something that just happens. It is something you practice." And she is right. Then there is another man, Frank. He is in better health than Eleanor, but every conversation with him is filled with complaints. He talks about what he has lost, about how life used to be better, and because that is what he focuses on, that is all he sees. Here is the thing. If you spend all your time thinking about what you lost, you will never enjoy what is still here. I see it every day. Some people wake up expecting things to be worse, and they are. Others wake up choosing to find something good in the day, and they do. So I made a choice. Every morning before I get out of bed, I ask myself, what is one thing I can be grateful for today? It might be something small, a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, or just the fact that I woke up. And that sets the tone for my entire day. Because here is the truth. Your attitude is like a filter. If you expect things to be bad, you will see bad. If you expect to find something good, you will find it. So ask yourself, how do you want to see your life? Do you want to focus on what is gone? Or do you want to appreciate what is still here? Because I can tell you this, aging is not about what you lose, it is about what you choose to keep. I know it is not always easy. Some days are harder than others. However, I have learned that the people who live the best lives are not the ones with perfect circumstances. They are the ones who choose to make the best of what they have. I once heard someone say, "You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it." And that is what makes all the difference. So take a deep breath, look around, find something, anything, to appreciate today, because when you do that, you take control of your own happiness. Lesson 5. Family visits are unpredictable, but friendships sustain you. When I first moved into the nursing home, I thought family visits would be the highlight of my days. At first they were. Seeing my children, my grandchildren, catching up on their lives, it gave me something to look forward to. But as time went on, the visits became less frequent. Life got busy, schedules got complicated, weeks would pass without a visit, and I found myself waiting, hoping, feeling disappointed when the phone did not ring. Then, I noticed something. The people who spent all their time waiting for family visits were often the loneliest, but the ones who built friendships inside the nursing home, they always had someone to talk to, always had a reason to smile. That is when I realized family is important, but friendships are what keep you going. I met a man named Albert. His son lived 2 hours away and only visited once every few months, but Albert never seemed sad or lonely. Every morning he had coffee with a small group of friends, he played cards in the afternoon, shared meals with people he cared about, and always had someone to laugh with. One day I asked him, "Albert, how do you stay so positive despite not seeing your son very often?" He smiled and said, "I stopped counting the visits and started counting the people who were here every day." That changed everything for me. Instead of focusing on when my family would visit, I started focusing on the people around me. I made an effort to sit with different groups at meals, to check in on my neighbors, to join activities even when I felt like staying in my room. And the more I did, the less lonely I felt. The truth is, our families love us, but they have their own lives, their own responsibilities. As much as they care, they cannot always be there as often as we might want. That is not a reflection of their love, it is just life. But we can choose to let that make us feel forgotten, or we can choose to build connections right where we are. I have seen it again and again. People who sit and wait for family visits often feel disappointed, but those who put effort into making friends, into being part of something, into forming relationships with the people they see every day, they thrive. Because at the end of the day, love is not just about who is related to you, it is about who shows up, who cares, and who makes your world feel a little less lonely. So if you are in a place where you feel like you are waiting for someone to come and make you feel less alone, stop waiting. Look around, say hello, join a conversation, because friendships, not just family, are what truly sustain you. Lesson 6. The past becomes more vivid, but the present still matters. Have you ever noticed how the past seems to get clearer as you get older? I can remember details from my childhood with absolute clarity. The way my mother's kitchen smelled, the songs that played on the radio, the sound of my best friend's laughter when we were kids. But ask me what I had for lunch yesterday, I might have to think for a moment. I have noticed this in others too. Conversations in the nursing home often drift toward the past, stories of old jobs, young love, the way things used to be. And I understand why. The past is familiar, it is comforting, it is a place where we are strong, where we are needed, where life feels bigger. But there is a danger in spending too much time looking backward. It can make us forget that we are still here. I met a man named Frank. He was 89 years old and could tell stories about his younger days in stunning detail. But that was all he talked about, the past. He never joined activities, never asked anyone about their lives now, and never seemed interested in the present moment. It was as if he had decided his life was already over, even though he was still very much alive. Then there was Helen. She was 84 and also loved reminiscing about her past, but she never let it stop her from living in the now. She was always curious, always trying new things. One day, she told me, "I have more yesterday than tomorrow, but that does not mean today does not count." That stuck with me, because the truth is, nostalgia is a gift. It reminds us of where we came from, of the lives we built, of the moments that shaped us, but it should never come at the cost of the present. We still have conversations to enjoy, meals to savor, people to connect with, and moments to be part of. Life may not look the way it once did, but it is still happening. So, how do you balance the past and the present? Start by making an effort to engage in what is happening now. Ask people about their lives today. Try something new, even if it is small. Be present in the moment. Because no matter how many years we have behind us, the time we have now still matters. So, tell your stories, remember your best days, smile at the memories that warm your heart, but do not forget to look around you, to stay engaged, to keep living, because if you spend too much time in the past, you might miss what is left of the present. Lesson 7. Small pleasures make a big difference. You ever notice how the little things in life end up meaning the most? As we get older, our world tends to get smaller. We do not have the same big adventures, the major milestones, or the excitement of chasing new opportunities. But you know what I have learned after a year in a nursing home? That is not what really makes life meaningful. I have seen people find pure joy in the simplest things: a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a favorite song playing in the background, the feeling of sunshine on their skin as they sit by a window. Take Harold, for example. He is 82 years old, and nothing makes him happier than his butterscotch candy. He keeps a small stash in his drawer and always offers one to whoever stops by. It is a small gesture, something most people would not think twice about. But for Harold, it is a ritual of comfort, connection, and happiness. And I have learned to cherish these little moments too. The first sip of hot tea in the morning, the sound of birds outside my window, the familiar voices of friends greeted me in the hallway. Because when life slows down, these tiny moments become the highlights of the day. I have noticed something. Those who embrace and savor these moments tend to be the most content. On the other hand, I have seen people who focus only on what they no longer have, the trips they can no longer take, the foods they can no longer eat, the things they can no longer do. And the more they focus on what is missing, the less they see what is still there. That is when bitterness creeps in, when days feel empty, when nothing seems to bring joy anymore. Here is the truth: happiness does not always come from the big things. Sometimes it is simply a good meal, a kind conversation, or a quiet moment of peace. I once met a woman named Louise. She was 90 and could no longer walk without assistance, but every evening she would sit by the window, watching the sunset. One day she told me, "I may not be able to go where I used to, but I can still see something beautiful every day." That stuck with me. So take a deep breath, look around, notice something small, a sound, a smell, a taste, a feeling that brings even the slightest bit of joy. Hold on to it, because in the end, life is not just about the big moments. It is about the small pleasures that make each day worth living. I know it is easy to focus on what we have lost, but the happiest people I know are the ones who still find joy in what they have left. I once asked an old friend, "What is the secret to being happy at this age?" He smiled and said, "Stop chasing what you lost and start appreciating what is still here." That is advice I carry with me every day, and I hope you will too. Do you know what I have learned after a year in a nursing home? Aging is not just about what happens to you, it is about how you respond to it. I have met people who have lost their health, their mobility, and even their families, but they still wake up every morning with a sense of purpose, with a reason to smile. And I have seen others in better circumstances who have given up, who have decided that their best days are behind them. And that is when it hit me. Aging is not about loss, it is about adaptation. It is about choosing to stay engaged, to keep learning, to keep moving forward, even when life changes in ways you never expected. Some people grow old and fade away, others grow old and thrive. And the difference? It is not luck. It is not a circumstance, it is a choice. So, what will you choose? So what does all of this mean? It means that aging is not just about counting years, it is about making those years count. I have shared 7 lessons with you, lessons that I have learned not from books, but from real people, from real experiences. I have seen that independence fades if you let it, that loneliness is a choice, that attitude shapes everything. Those routines keep us sharp, friendships can sustain us when family cannot always be there, living in the past can make you miss the present, and that the smallest pleasures can bring the greatest joy. But here is the most important thing I have learned. Aging well is not about luck. It is about mindset, about small decisions, about choosing to stay engaged, to stay active, to keep learning, and to keep connecting. So, no matter where you are in life, remember this: it is never too late to start living fully. Alright, now I want to hear from you. Which one of these lessons resonated with you the most? Did any of them make you think differently about aging? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this video gave you something to think about, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are building a community where we talk about life, wisdom, and aging well. And if you know someone who could use these lessons, share this video with them, because aging is something we all go through, and we are in this together.